hope you can hear me. Rahubat, Maboika, bienvenido, and welcome. This is the session of the Morals and Ethic Appropriation. I don't have the committee with me. I send out links, so if they do want to come in, they can come in. If they do, please to do so. You know who you are. I wanted to address certain missed informations and misconceptions to that whole scenario. Lately on a platform, and I said it, I'm saying that maybe because it's man, Panaba Yanan, Dr. Malachi Ziyor, Baba, we call him the old man, maybe because he's very close for his freedom. There's a lot of things being worked on, okay, that a lot of us are not privy to. But there's a lot of things being worked on, okay, from outside and from the inside. Because you have those inside that study to become paralegals, and trust me, they're working on something. And so maybe because he's getting so close that all of a sudden everybody wants to come on the social media and speak this untrue, speak this missing pieces. You see, truth is when all the pieces fit perfectly together like a puzzle, and falsehood is just the opposite. It doesn't fit. And then there's missed information, but we're going to address that, And the reason why I wanted to start this Council of Nine Morals and Ethic Appropriation Committee, because one day, Baba looked at me, the old man looked at me and said, I guess what's lacking in our people is morals. So I took it upon myself to try to at least interject some type of morals and ethics, which are very, very important to a society, any society. And we're going to address all that. Boy, we're going to address. Shots are going to be fired. So don't take it personal. But before I do that, I want to keep this in a very civil manner. I want to recite the Pa Tak Yud, which is the affirmation. I don't have my tone playing, but let me get one of these tones up here. Pa Tak Yud. Anuki Jawef Pa Ashikim Pa Pa'ut. Wukala Ashik Kawun Jawef Nia. Anuki Kwasamun Impa Paut. Wupa Paut Kawun Kwasaumim Nia. Anuki Wahu Amma Pa Paut. Wupa Paut Kawun Wahu Amma Nia. Nukuk Kadur Najah Amma Kwasamum Impa Paut. Wuhabub Amma mush khasum. Nakuk kador kawan kala pafaf nakuk. Dayur jawef papaut. Amma wasa amma dayar ni kaun lakay bakay jawef papaut. Anuki jabed bi nafashni. Papa ut kawun anuki papa ut kador nakuk kador papa ut amul nakuk amul. And for those of you who didn't understand, it doesn't even speak Sabay. Here's the English, the affirmation. I am in the divine love of the all-expanding Pa'ut. And all divine love is in me. And I am part of the all-expanding. And the all-expanding is part of me. I am one as the all-expanding. And the all-expanding is one as me. I can succeed as part of the all-expanding and fail as an individual person. I can be all that I want in the all-expanding as long as my want is to stay in the all expanding. I am never by myself. Anuki yabid bi nafashni. And all expanding is I am. The all expanding can, I can. The all expanding does, I do. That's the affirmation. I wanted to start that in that vein. Okay? Now, let's address some things. All right, now. Where do we start? Well, I want to say this. This is a social media. This is a platform, YouTube. YouTube is controlled by certain individuals, certain companies, corporations. So is also Facebook, right? There's a lot going on that we do not know about behind the scene, okay? It's just, I noticed that when there's a lot of talk, a lot of audio being leaked, a lot of social media talk about the freedom of what they call who they call Dr. York, right? Panabayanun, Dr. York, Malakazi York, or whatever name you choose to call that body, or that spirit, that personality, right? So there's a lot of audio leaks, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I've noticed that you look at the succession of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of platforms, especially the conscious community, so-called conscious, I call it the unconscious community because they're not aware of a lot of things. They talk like they are aware and conscious, but they're not conscientious about a lot of things. So I noticed that they all got onto the bandwagon. And it all started, believe it or not, with Mark Lamont Hill, an agent. Right? It all started with that. Okay? Now, Chuck Morgan been doing this for a while, and we're going to address Chucky Morgan. Okay? We're going to address him. He knows who I am. Right there, Kefra Shu Aseb. And I got the receipts. Later on, I will pull up, to prove that we had communications, I'm going to pull up some messages you messaged me. Brother, you try to come at me and always want to debate about the doctrine and this and that, and you don't know nothing about the doctrine. And we're gonna go over that. Brother, I came in 79. There's brothers that I've been in contact that came back from the 60s. Okay? And we came in 79. And I'm gonna explain to you all about that and how the shift happened. Okay? We're gonna address that because it was addressing these platforms. Right? I'm gonna address also Michael Basia, Hafus. Michael Basia, the Sicilian guy, okay? I'm going to address him too. I have personal dealing with him. Look at me good. Hafuz, you remember me? Remember me? With Victor Felix? You remember me? Okay? Huh? I'm going to expose some stuff that you did, okay? I'm going to expose a lot of things that it's just putting the pieces together, brother. It's just being, that's one thing about morals. You got to be honest and you got to be truthful. These people lack morals and ethics because they're not truthful. They're not honorable. They're just not honorable. Forget about the loyalty. Okay? Forget about if the man is innocent or guilty, but still there is judicial appropriations that were violated. And we're going to address that later on. But anyway, I like Sarnetta. I think Sarnetta come from the street and he's, and I see where he comes from. But I just got to say that he's being manipulated by a lot, by the streets and by the conscious community, which he claims he started. He started that whole YouTube conscious community thing. So he's got to keep it up. You know what I'm saying? It's about viewership for him, and we're gonna address that also. But the first thing I want to address also, Uma, I have your Instagram. As a matter of fact, I was on chatting with you on the Instagram when you had your brother on there and the stuff that you're done in the community that we're going to address. Because you blurted it all out and your brother blurted it all out. I forgot his name, one of the younger ones. He wasn't there when I was there with the Mootmanoons, okay, under the tent. He wasn't there, all right? I'm going to address that. Leah, I had you also on Facebook. Beautiful, beautiful sister. These are beautiful sisters. You know what I'm saying? These are beautiful sisters. And it's a shame that even Jacob, I could tell you stuff about Jacob when he was 7 years old. 7 years old. Okay? We're going to address all that. I hope some of the old heads, Morpheus, listen to this, King Simon. Yeah, I mean, your guys came in 88, King Simon and stuff, you know, still go back, Ansar. You know, we're going to go over the secession. We're going to go over to the change of what they call the change of the regime. Okay? We're going to go over that. And what is Nuwapu? Nuwapu? And what is Nuwapu? Nuwapian, being Nuwapian, and that whole school of thought. How it transitioned from Ansars to Nubian, Islamic Hebrews, to the Nubian nation, up to Nuwapu and Nuwapians. There's a difference. Yaqub, who's known as Jacob, Yaqub touched upon some of that stuff, but he was not being truthful. There's a lot of things that he missed out. So we're going to address that. First, where do you want to start? Okay. This brother also, Tahaka Bay. Yeah, come on, man. We can see that you want views. You're doing this for views. You want to expose things. You know, a lot of these, you know, Panabad had told me in the past too that a lot of these other organizations are disgruntled because in the 60s, 70s, all the way into almost into the middle of the 80s, that Ansar or that Dr. York's books and influence was very prominent in New York City. When I was there in 79, even in the 1970s, you couldn't go anywhere throughout the states and even throughout New York City and even certain states, and you not run into two brothers in Jalabia and Emma pushing books. Even on the train, you went to work, we were there, okay? And we will open up the newspaper and show you a picture of a school we were building, and we built it. We built it. No scamming, Chuck. No scamming at all. We built it. We built the Hall of Knowledge. Man, I used to gut out the basement. Okay? In the middle of the night, we used to gut out the basement to put those brownstones together so we can build the Hall of Knowledge, build another residency for the young Mootmanoons, which they were surprised when there was one brother that fixed it up beautiful. It was immaculate with gold trimming and everything. You had it good. We're going to discuss that. Anyway, you see, they don't want a couple of us elders to excuse me one second. You know what? Let me take these off so I can see the chat. Okay? Sorry. I guess because of the age, I'm blind as a bat. Yes, Bonita Sutton. How you doing, my sister? Pretty good. Yes, Rahul Bat Khalil. Okay. Get ready. Get ready. We're gonna shake up some things. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be shots up here. And some of these brothers, I'm gonna give them they're gonna get slapped. You know what I'm saying? You see, they don't want a lot of us to speak out. Especially some of us elders, they don't want us to speak out because they know that we experienced and we were there in the beginning. Okay? And I sat with Abiyaya, you know, and Abu Bakr, who was our first master teacher student for real, a Puerto Rican dude, Abu Bakr, short Puerto Rican gangster, was my godfather. He was the one that he mentored me also when I was in the 79 when he came out of prison. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want Samuel, another brother. They don't want us to speak. Abdul Latif has a lot too, but he's been like dealing with his thing, and I don't want to put him in those situations. But there's been a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters that were there, and This social media is crazy. And the reason why we want to address a lot of these things is because you got a lot of these young kids coming up. Let me tell you something. Okay, let me go back about the doctrine, all right, about those books and when we were out there. Those books, that knowledge that we had back then that we were receiving was so powerful, was flipping. We had in the community, we had people coming from the 5% of school, coming from the Nation of Islam, ex-Israelites. They were coming because the power, that's this information, because this man was not holding back. He was putting it all out there. And we're going to discuss that, Mr. Chucky, that plagiarism and all that crap when you don't even know. You don't know. All right? He prepared us for a lot of things. But anyway, there was no way you can walk around Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. Hey, T, what's up, my sister? I have to greet my sister here. I'm sorry, this is not private. We're on live, if that's okay with you. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that I'm respectful to you. I'll add you to the stream. There you go. Rahul bad.
Rahul bad. Ouch.
So if I may, let me continue on. So a lot of, the doctrine has been very powerful, has flipped a lot of, have even took people from jail. I mean, I remember a brother that was a correctional officer living in a community that his son was a mu'minun, that he used to take those books back to jail. And these guys used to come back home, change and transform. That's how powerful. And so a lot of these 5%ers and Israelites, they're mad because we were able to build a village. We were able to actually build a village. We were able to build a school, an institution for the children. We did what we said we was going to do. We did it under the guise of this man. You know what I'm saying? They mad. Okay? So I'm just giving you a little backdrop of how the power is. Like I said, you couldn't go nowhere in New York City. You got on that train, trust me, we were on that train. Two brothers would pop up on that train, give you a speech. Next thing you know, you were in your pockets putting out money or buying books, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you wanted to buy instance of, but you were supporting. It was all about supporting us building that school that we actually built, okay? So a lot of these guys are mad. And a lot of these brothers that you see on the social media, on the consciousness, came later on as Nuwapians. And I'm going to explain to you the difference, okay? The difference that you have to understand the different schools of thoughts, the progression. We're building a nation, okay? And the progressions and understanding the different school of thoughts, okay? So addressing the answer, yes, Jacob grew up in the community. I was one of the brothers who watched them and Yadalahi. As a matter of fact, Mr. Jacob Muhammad, Jake York, let me tell you something. I was a brother, look at me really good. Maybe I should put up a picture how I used to look back in the days so you'll know who is speaking to you. That's me, back in the days. I was in a fruit stand. There's no way that the children could be playing under the tent if they didn't come through me. And I was there. At the same time I was taking care of the fruit stand, right? I was also taking care of your guys. Yadalahi, his twin sister Fatima, okay, Abu Bakr, okay, Dream's son, I forgot his name, you know what I'm saying? And Yakub, you was there. As a matter of fact, Mr. Jacob York, I used to defend you. Children are going to be children. You know what they used to say about you? That you was always like, you had this demeanor about you, okay? And I'm going to talk about Kedar too, pain in the ass, okay? And Jakub, I feel sorry for you because they used to tease you. You had a big head. What do you think they named you, Jakub? You had a big head, and you know what the Mumanoon used to say? Hey, how you going to come down here to the mosque and fit through that door with your big head? Kids are going to be kids. That I feel that affected you in some way. I was teased too. Look at my nose. I was teased, called him big nose. And I got an egg head shape. They used in Spanish call me cabeza huevo. egghead. I was teased, but I learned how to go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think what's lacking in the, I think what's that one thing that we lacked as a nation was PhD psychologists or psychiatrists, or behavior PhD people, because a lot of the children were traumatized. As a matter of fact, a lot of their parents were traumatized. We're coming from a whole traumatic experience with slavery and living in New York in the hood. Traumatic experiences. So we lack a lot of PhD, behavioral science PhD people that need to work with us. So yeah, Yakub, you got a problem. There's another thing you didn't mention. Uma, you got a problem, young lady. And you're a beautiful young lady. Don't get me wrong. You're beautiful, and I've spoken to you. Your Instagram. You always wasn't that little sexy type of thing, and that's cool. That's cool. I don't knock that at all. But you didn't tell the whole true story about why did the master teacher at the time he was incarcerated, why he wanted you out of that building. Your guys were depreciating the value of those buildings. You was having parties in there, and this is from the way I tell you. I was on live with Uma, and one of the young sons of Dr. York came on there, and he had said he even admitted that he was robbing the store. He was climbing into the top through the skyline and robbing the store. This is coming out of his own mouth, and was laughing. There was so much stuff going on with these children, man. At the time they were becoming teenagers, there was so much going on. Baba couldn't deal with that. You were lowering, you depreciate. You should have seen, I left in 83, on 84. And when I came back around 86, 87, I was heartbroken. Heartbroken. Those buildings was deteriorating. Heartbroken. Okay? That main one, 717, was terrible, heartbroken, uncared for, okay? And so these people, and Sakina, you down with that shit too, okay? All right? I know what you did to Fatima, because I spoke to Black, our master teacher's sister, that she had to take Fatima to her, I think to New Jersey, and I spoke to Fatima on the phone, and I spoke to Black, and Black did not like what was going on and how her mother was treated. And she told me, personally, you see, they don't want me to air out a lot of shit, okay? So at that time that we left Ansar, because when we were there as Ansar, there was a guard always. And let me tell you something, as y'all were really, the children was taken care of. I don't know about the young toddlers. I don't know about the young toddlers. I'm sorry.
I can speak on it. I can speak on it because Rahul, everybody.
Right.
I can speak on it because I used to live behind the gates. I used to take care of the children. Yes, the children was taken care of. I must say, the children was taken care of. I know that, the priority of the community was to raise the children so they can learn this doctrine, so they could be the ones to carry on,
Right.
That was the main purpose.
I'm sure some of them fell through the cracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not everything, I don't want to paint that everything was so, remember, not everything
was hunky dory.
Right, so perfect, right. Wasn't so perfect in the community. I can attest to that. But overall, you're 100% right. The children was taken care of and I'm telling you, I remember when that one brother painted when we opened up the Hall of Knowledge, and one of the baits for the Mu'minun were inside them buildings where the Hall of Knowledge was at. Man, that brother did a beautiful job. That the old man said that brother has an interest into paradise for the rest of his life because of the job that he did. Okay, with the gold trimming on the floor, and I mean it was immaculate. So these Mu'minuns were treated like prince and princesses. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they got the best, and we kind of live the worst. Not say worst, but they have everything.
True. Also, the teaching. I was there when Sayyid Sadiq came down. As a matter, I tell you, I was at the fruit stand, and he came from the United Nations, which is another thing I do, Chuck Morgan, when you spoke stupidness. You weren't there. And you told me, oh no, he wasn't the prime minister. So you said he was the prime minister because what the hell is he doing addressing the General Assembly in the United Nations, all right? And then after that, he came with his assistant to the Ansar community in Bushwick, and I was one of the brothers who first greeted him when he came out of the car because I was there in the fruit stand, okay? He looked at my nose and said, well, hi, family. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And you, Chuck, you said that that's not true. How can you? When there's pictures. I was there. There's pictures also. I'm sure there's videos of that too. You know what I'm saying? And then he wasn't a prime minister. Well, you know what? Just like the president, if you're an ex-president, they still address you as president. It's still President Obama to you this day, okay? So, you know, I just wanted to drop that in there too. A lot of misinformation were people that were not there. They didn't see it. Jake, you was young. You was being teased all the time. Teased. You didn't have a connection like that. Yadalahi was the favorite one, okay? Because Yadalahi was the one that was supposed to take on, as a matter of fact, he was groomed to be an ambassador to the United Nations to represent us at the United Nations. That was the whole plan. But we all know about that. We all know what screwed that one up, right? So Jay, no, brother, I was there, okay? I seen how you was teased, and I seen the I felt that you were a little disconnected, okay? And Kedar, Wakia's son, Wakia was never an Ansar. And no shout out to her. She's doing what she does. She came to the, you know, she came to the aid of her brother, and far as getting, what we're going to discuss, getting a lot of your brothers and sisters, Jake and Uma, who was depreciating the value of those buildings, okay, which it was no longer the Ansar community, and they were going and they want to make the shift into Nwapiism, okay, a Nwapu, all right? So, I don't want to get too emotional about this, but anyway, Wakia was never an Ansar, never. I used to see her walking by when she used to bring her boyfriend, and to see, because she dropped Kedar to the master teacher so he can raise them up. And he used to walk around with a bat. He wanted to beat up brothers in the community. He didn't like being in the community. Okay, Kedar, very talented brother, very talented, but he was the kind of like, I don't want to be around here. I don't want to be around these people. That was Kedar, walking around with a bat, okay? So don't, yeah, Jay, you're dealing with people that know that was there, and my eyes were open. I was an innocent. My eyes were open. I was instructed I was sitting down with the master teacher when he was available there every day at the fruit stand. We would speak and talk, and he would reveal things to me about his family, about what was going on with the community. You know what I'm saying? He trusts me like that. You know, I used to make his limon. He trusted me. I used to make his limon. I could have, you know, if I was some type of other agent or something, I could have poisoned the man right there. You know what I'm saying? You know how many people wanted to poison that man? And I made his limon every day, okay? Squeeze those damn limes and put sugar. He liked a lot of sugar. He liked it sugary, you know what I'm saying? And I made him his limon every day, okay? And I spoke with him every day. And I saw that one time he tells me, and he was looking at Kedar, someone is sneaking candies to the children. Someone was giving, you see, they were on a strict diet. And someone was sneaking candy. That's you see the mindset? And then he was looking at Kedar like, who has access like that? And who's sneaking in candy to these children? Okay. Now, that's a little backstory on things that was happening. So yeah, it was a great time. We did have guards on every building. We had a structure. We had the mujahid. We had structure. We had a fruit stand. When I first came in, it was just a tent. And then I got sick, and Baba decided to make a fruit stand, and I could be in the fruit stand, be there every day, because he cared about my health. Fatima also cared about my health. She fed me every day. Her peanut butter chicken was off the chain, y'all. Peanut butter chicken. Everybody that knows that lady had ran the restaurant was hers. Because she used to try to borrow money from a master teacher with the restaurant. And the master teacher said, I ain't giving her money for that thing? That place? Nah. So, but that's something that was going on between mother and son. Okay? And that's something that was going on. Okay? But now, let's transition a little bit over. Okay? So like I said, when I went there in 86, 87, I was disappointed. Disappointed. No more guards. But then I noticed, then I was told that they moved. But this is what happened that disappointed me. Children in raggedy clothes came up to me that you would consider manoons. They had a certain dress, clothes that the system made for them. Because they all wore, there's certain clothes. And they also wore Kung Fu uniforms too that we got them one time. But they wore these clothes that the system made for them. They came up to me in the middle of the street, something that would not happen when we were Ansar. That's how I knew things would change. And try to sell me books. When would Mumunung at the age of 9 and 10 come up to you and try to sell you a book in the middle of the street? I say, whoa, is something wrong? This isn't the same people. There's something wrong. But then when I went up the block, they moved the bookstore over, and Hamza, he was one of the nobles. May he rest in peace. Hamza ran the store. So then I learned that they moved. And where did they move? They were transitioning from upstate down to Eatonton, Georgia, and they were building that. And I remember when we went on 79, he showed us a video, because we had a big screen and he had the big projector underneath the tent, and he showed about the land that he wanted to purchase and build. And he said, this is where we're going, but in order to go there, you need to go through here, and you need to go upstate. That was the middle ground. That was to weed out certain people upstate. In Jazeera, upstate. Okay? I remember that. You know what I'm saying? And so it was disappointing. It broke my heart a little bit. But then I didn't understand things. So I went on my way. I had to do what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? But then later on, I got introduced, through the internet. I started searching for Dr. York. And I said, man, this man was so nice with me. My teacher, I want to. So I started, and then that's when I found out that he was incarcerated and all this. So I started digging deep. To this day, and that was in the internet about 2001 and 2002 or 3 around there. And so I got a lot of documents that I collected from back then. So, and I'm gonna address the polite situation and everything, because I'm Michael Basia, my Italian brother. There's a lot of things you missed out that you should have mentioned. Okay. So, fast forward, going ahead, we're now at the time of Nwapu. Now, that school Nwapu, when they came to Eatonton, Georgia, it's about the occult. He's a master teacher. He's got to teach us about Islam. He taught us about Moicism, what's called Judaism. He taught us about Christianity. He taught us about the occults. The occults, Chuck Morgan. When you go to ancient Egypt and it's magic, occult magic. What do you think Isis, Aset, did when she tried to raise Osiris from the dead and she wanted the word of power? It's called magic. Hika. Okay? That's magic. So I study magic. I can do magical tricks, the art of deceptions, because that's knowledge on certain things. So did Baba know about magic. We discussed that at one time, because we had a brother who he was fond of that knew magic, was a magician. Okay? And so when you deal with Nuwap, we was dropping the occult science on us because we had to learn about this. You remember, he come to reform and to clean up the mess. But occult practices is a part of our everyday life. If you're not aware of the occult and magic, you don't see it. Television is magic. Okay? There's certain magic that you don't see. Okay? Because you're so caught up in the illusion. So he had taught us all about that. So what do you think? They did it in ancient Egypt. Magical words, hika, okay? That's the occult. Which brings me up to this thing with Michael Basia. This brother's full of shit. Hey. And, okay, look at me real good, because you know who I am, okay? Mike, you was the worshipful master. You became worshipful master. It used to be Victor Felix first until he went to jail for child pornography on his computer. Victor Felix, yes. Another one. Mike, Basia, Hafuz. Brother, you took me. Now, we're supposed to be in Nuwapu on the occult, and it's cool. But you took us to a misa with a spiritual, what they call Babalao teacher, this lady that you were so intrigued with. And you took us to this misa. Anybody that know what a misa is, they put a table and they put glasses of water. This is water, y'all.
Yes, I heard of it, Misa.
Yeah, it's a misa. Now we're going down to Fort Lauderdale. We're in the Blue House and we're also AEO, okay? And so we're having, events, AEO and Blue House, right? He took us to a misa. And first of all, they try to put me in front of the table. But then Hafuz later on, Michael Basia, so you know who I'm talking about, the brother that came on the Sonetta speaking all that trash, thinking like he know, like he's this shit, and we know better. Well, after that, they put me on there, and I started playing the drums because I'm a percussionist, and I started playing the drums for her and stuff like that. And then she asked me certain questions, and I answered it back with sound right reason. At the end of that misa, he told me, man, he said, I do Sabor. They knew me under Sabor. They said, man, Sabor, you went in as a Nuwapian and came out as a Nuwapian. I can't say the same for a lot of these brothers. They go in there, and the next thing you know, they come in there, and now they want to put on the bees, and they want to get involved in spiritualism and this and that. You're different. I said, because I know who I am, and I stay firm. I don't let nobody talk that shit to me. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Now, let me tell you what Michael Basia did. He got possessed, so-called possessed. So he started running around the room and barking like a dog on one foot. Whoo, 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 like a freaking dog. And then he vomited and got possessed. What is a fucking Wapian doing getting possessed like that? That's what came into my mind. Yo, what the fuck is going on here? I'm sorry. Sorry, I got my sister here. I'm so sorry about that. What is this brother doing? Then I went to his house. He had the drum and elegua, and he was really got so involved in this. And I'm like, this is another school of thought. I mean, it's good to know it, but yo, you're giving your life into it. And then he told me, yo, once you give yourself to elegua, once you give yourself to the orichas, there's no way you can stop it because bad things have happened to you. I said, brother, I was raised in that, okay? I had my chango, that this lady gave me this chango bead and said, and let me tell you something, I was raised in that. Remember, I'm a percussionist. I was raised in the Hispanic community with a lot of that. And to this day, I still play in bembe and I play palo gig. But I'm in it, but not of it. I learned that from the master teacher. I'm in it, but I'm not of it. I'm a percussionist. I can play. I can do the rhythm. I can play bata. I'm a great inconcolo, bata, timing. You know what I'm saying? I can do that. I can walk to any fundamento. The only thing is I don't have eleques. I haven't gotten so deep in that I don't have eleque, and I don't have what they call warriors, guerreros, that you have to have in order for you to play an actual ceremony with bata. They take that seriously. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking at this brother like, yo, what are you doing? I lost all amount of respect. Next thing you know, we're having an AEO for a meeting, right, in Fort Lauderdale, and after that, he takes us all to McDonald's, chucking down on Big Macs. And I'm like, yo, at that time, I was like, yo, my diet, and I don't think Nuwapian should be, you got to be, at that time, Nuwapian at that time, I was like, yo, diet is so important to us, man. You will not find me in no damn McDonald's or no Burger King eating, chucking down some Whoppers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you are what you eat. And I knew this back then. So these brothers are disgruntled. They wanted to be the master teacher. They wanted to be him, right? But they couldn't fit them into those shoes. You can't fit into those shoes. You know? So fast forwarding about the Wapians and about the building. Polite, I remember Polite when he came in with a brother called Nawur. If anybody that knows, oh, I'm sorry, KT, I'm sorry, you back. Yeah, you went out for a minute. I remember Polite and Nawur. It was two brothers, Polite and another brother Nawur, that came into the lodge. And they actually became, worshipful masters and deputy warden in the Blue House. Polite. Now, Polite was, yes, writing the old man. And the old man, of course, the old man wrote him back. At that time, he was able to write people back. And he did get letters from the old man. But he never met the master teacher. That's coming out of his own mouth. He never sat down with Panabal Yanun and had any type of conversation with the man. Personally. But of course, the master teacher's in jail. You know what I'm saying? And he appealed to the master teacher, and the master teacher, of course, is going to use them and says, yo, get them. And any of them that's claiming that anyone that says they're my relative, don't get them out of there. They're depreciating the building. They're holding orgies in there. They're having parties in there. They went to the hip hop stage. Jake, you was part of that too. They went to that hip hop, and let me tell you something. I love hip hop. But they were involved in that culture and the sex and the orgies and sleeping with this person, that person, and these parties. They were desecrating what this man built and saying the depreciation, that neighborhood that we helped build, because once you enter into that neighborhood, it changed. There was more plants, more trees. You had guards. It was safe. You know what I'm saying? Even the mayor applauded us. And I'll let the brother Samuel tell you about how Galante, the Italian mobsters in Knickerbocker, I used to go over there and get once in a while, get a little, with that coffee that they got, espresso, right? So we had to be very careful though. But Galante, who got assassinated up there, honored and knew of the chain. Because you see, Galante, some of these mafiosos, they didn't like drugs in the neighborhood. They weren't about drugs. Most of them weren't about drugs, even though they kept that in the dark. But when you clean up a neighborhood like that they look at it and they honor that. And they had a lot of Sicilians from the Gambino regime, a lot of mobsters, soldiers, they're not main men, but just soldiers, that was reading the doctrine, okay? One of them was an Ansar with us, a Sicilian brother, with a big beard, Hakeem, and nobody to know. That brother was not to be played with. Baba flipped him, okay? He had the ability to flip a lot of these people from different walks of life. You know what I'm saying? Different walks of life. But anyway, the community at that time, when everybody was in the land, and the concentration was more on the land, up there, the buildings were depreciating. The neighborhood was falling, and Baba's children were in there, and he wanted to get them out. You know what I'm saying? He needed to get them out. So, of course, hey, Polite appealed to him and writing to him, well, I'm a gangster too, because he probably heard stories about the old man when they used to call him Psycho, and he was a gangster. Notorious. Abiyaya shared a lot of that story with me. His name resonated all through Brooklyn, York. When you mention the name York, Psycho, and York through Brooklyn, man, brother was on guard. They were like, yo, he coming through here? Because he was a war council. He had two gangs, prominent gangs, okay, that he was war council to. And I'll let the brother Samuel one time talk about that too, for later in the future. So, of course, Polite gonna appeal to the old man. Okay? Anyone, somebody to get him out. But then things escalated. I remember when that brother got shot. They said it was master teacher's son and the got shot. Things escalated. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? You said this outsider, not blood relative, is coming in, okay, and he's on an upcome, and he's calling himself Nuwapian, and he's in the lodge, and he wants, hey, he's getting instructions to let's clean this up. I need it to be cleaned up. My own children are depreciating the value of this building. What I built, the store. They were robbing the store, man. That Hamza had to move the store over to a couple of buildings over. I remember I visited there. It was terrible, terrible. And when I was at the food stand, the tent, and they built the tent, it wasn't even the temple at that time. I don't even know what it was. I think they held a lot. They held a lot of artifacts in there. You know, they were building. I don't know what it became then. I just didn't even look in there. The bookstore wasn't there. It was down where Hamza was at, a couple of buildings down. But it was terrible. Terrible. You know, and there was one sister sweeping one of the front of the building that we call the green room. That I used to stay in the first floor. We were the young brothers bay. The ones that were 15, 16, 17. We had one bay, which actually they closed down the green room and they gave us the first apartment on the first floor. Right? When I came back to revisit that one building, it was painted, I think, green and white. It was all white with green trimmings, right? Because it was the women's bay and the children's bay that had the gold and white. It was a green and white building. And no, there was one that was gold and white. I don't know why. But the where the green room used to be, of the block, bigger buildings. And there was one sister sweeping outside, trying to sweep. And the fire department was coming through. They were trying to oust them. They were squatters. Squatters. Baba didn't want that. He didn't want that. You know? He wanted to move. Hey, we're going down to eat to enjoy. He wanted to move people out. But he kept, they fought and they kept that building. And now it's the temple, the parade, #1. And that's great that they did that. They, you know, with his help with his sister. And Sakina had to clean up her act. She had to clean up her act. You know what I'm saying? And you see, and it's true what Umar said. Sakina did say that. She gave him 12 years of her life. She wants something out of this. But I say, what about Abi Yahya? What about other brothers that gave 40, 30, and 40 years of their life? Some of them did get something, because a lot of them families were made in the deed in the land, and they sold out. So a lot of them got bread. Don't get it twisted. They made bread with the old man. You know what I'm saying? But it was a switch. You see, Nuwapo and Nuwapians should have been in Eastern Georgia. Up there, they held on to that building, but a lot of the children, master teachers' children, they was doing a lot of crazy shit in there. You know? That's the story behind it. And of course, a brother like Polite gonna come through and gonna try to do something. He's on the upcome. He wanted that position of a leadership. And he failed because when he went to Washington, D.C., and they had a podium there, a stage and a podium, he wanted to speak. They didn't even allow him to speak. They did not allow the brother to speak at all. You know? Don't worry about that, Khalil. My esteemed elder is here, and he can attest to a lot of this stuff, and he could give you a little breakdown pre-Ansar. Right here, let me bring him to the stream. Rahubat.
Rahubat.
To you.
How's everybody?
My love. What's going on, man? Peace.
Good, nothing.
Papa.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay. But with your permission, I want to continue on. Is that okay, Elder?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. Always I.
What I missed?
Okay. I was taking them from Nuwapians, where all the scandal and all the madness happened with that building where Jake and Uma and Baba's children were in that building. at a certain time, and I think in the late '80s and '90s. I don't really know the time situation, but I know it was pre-Ansar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
when we were
just
there,
hearing about that. I'm just
yeah,
hearing
yeah.
about that.
It was on a, on Sonetta platform. It was crazy. All of a sudden, Jacob York is coming out and speaking on all these platforms, and I say it's because they're sensing that the old man is making his move, and there's a possibility he might be out. You know what I'm saying? And they're
Yeah, well, see,
scared.
the thing about Jacob York is that I remember when he was a little boy, maybe about 1 or 2 years old,
Wow, look at
and
that.
his name was not. They didn't immediately name him Jacob. His name was Muhammad.
Mm,
And one day, me and the old man, a couple of brothers, was sitting on his patio, 751, drinking tea,
mm,
and Zubaydah was leading them. Because they lived across the street. Zubaydah lived across the street
okay.
from the school, which was 743 Bushway, to her house. And he pointed out to Muhammad at the time, or as y'all know him as Jacob. He said, "See, that little boy he's going to be a lot of trouble when he grows up."
He had a big head. That
Yeah,
big head.
that big-headed boy.
They
I don't
used to
even think
tease him all the
he
time.
said,
I
"I don't
remember.
even think he's mine.
Yep.
He's gonna be a lot of trouble when he grows up."
Yeah. And he was. I knew when he was 7 years old. And they used to tease him. And I used to try to defend him. When Yad Alahi, may he rest in peace, and Abu Bakr, knowing them, they used to tease him. They used to say, "Yo, how you gonna make it through the masjid with that big head of yours?" And I used to look
Yeah, I heard that.
I used to look
I
at Yad
heard that.
Alahi and say, Don't say that to your brother, Yad Alahi. And Yad Alahi looked at me like, "Man, he got a big head." I said, "Don't do that. Come on,
Yeah, he
man."
did have a big head though as a
Yeah.
child.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big round head. And that's it. And then they call him Yaqub. His name Yaqub.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, the point where I'm at right now is speaking about how, because all of this is also they bringing in this brother Polite into the mixture and stuff of what's happening with him, because he's being indicted and he's being prosecuted and indicted for child molestation. you know. And then when Sarnetta, the platform in Sarnetta, when he mentioned, oh, he's another doctor. Everybody want to jump in. He's another Dr. York, Dr. York. Bro, he can never compare to Dr. York. And
Yeah, I
even if
put
he
a
would,
post out. I put a
mm,
post out that's exactly weeks, exactly when Polite got arrested. I
mm,
said that's what's going to happen. All of these wannabe newscasters like Sanetta, and
yep,
there's another one, a female,
that's good. Good
called
point.
Tanya TKO,
Taya TKO. Okay.
is
And the
that's going to
Moorish guy,
give them,
Takakabe.
yeah, that's going to give them a reason to affiliate his plight with Dr. York, especially now that more and more people are gravitating towards the doctrine, you
Yes.
know. And like you
True.
said, the closer that Baba gets out, he could be out.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
As secretive as they are, I mean, you never know what's happening to hear them tell it.
Well,
From
a lot of this, Elder, is also a lot of the audios has been leaked, so there's been a little friction between the platform of Amanuma, what they call this Nuwapi and Sabian assassin, and with the administration, because I was on that conference call,
uh,
and their
well, that's
beef,
inevitable. See, it's all
yeah,
about a power play. And the old man wrote me back in what 2002,
mm,
and he said, it's all about money.
yeah,
It's all about money, and that's when he told me. He said, if you don't hear it from me, don't believe it.
facts,
That was the
facts,
last things that he told me.
yeah, yeah,
He said this is all about money.
yeah,
And as I
and that,
was unraveling, the different characters from
mhm,
Waki on down,
yeah,
I never trusted Waki, never, never. And I
she
and
was
I grew
another,
up with her. I used to sell drugs for her.
mm,
She was she's a queen pin in Brooklyn.
look at that,
As far as drugs is concerned.
mhm.
And I've seen a lot of foul shit that she used to do out in the streets.
And for your to
And
to get this straight, these are those that came later, they weren't there when we were Ansar. Because Wakil was never an Ansar. Never an
And
Ansar.
so she would come in and out, Joaquin.
Well, I used
Joaquin
to
would
see her
come
walking
in and
around
out.
in jeans. I used to see her walking around in jeans, bringing her
Yeah, she would
boyfriend
come.
in
Yeah,
jeans.
when she would come all drunk and high,
Yep.
and Imam uh put her in
Mm-hmm.
like I guess you could call it a rehab,
Yep. I
isolate
remember.
her.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? From the rest of the sisters.
And listen, if she changed her
And
life, that's all great. If she changed her life, more power to
no,
you.
the thing with that is that when he isolated her with the other sisters, she
Mm-hmm.
introduced lesbianism, and according to
Wow.
the old man said
Mm.
that's how lesbianism got into the community.
Yeah.
You
And
understand what I'm
Sakina, that's how
saying?
Sakina got in there. Sakina is good.
Well, no, it
Mm.
still started way before Sakina. Sakina is really
Yeah.
she's really a
Okay.
non-issue.
Yeah.
She's gonna face herself out just like polite and them. They
Right.
all do.
But she gets on a conference call and speak like she's all an authority of things and it's
Yeah,
speaking.
well, they have to do that to
Yeah.
save face.
Yeah.
But
And
let me tell you
they're
something.
getting
When the
funded
old
by they're getting funded by London. Excuse me, I don't want to cut your wisdom. Like they're getting funded by London. Some people in London don't are not here. They don't really know what's going
they
on.
don't know what's
So they're
going
trying to keep
on.
face. They got a lot
Yeah,
of money
very
coming
few
from
of them know
London.
what's really going on.
Mm. But the point, Tammy, just to take it a little further, is that that's the issue with what happened with Paul Light. You know what I'm saying? Paul Light saw an opportunity, he's an opportunist. And it's again money. That's a money dude. Look at today. All he talks about is money and women. That was and people don't change much. You know what I'm saying? And he's seen that
Right.
opportunity. So the old man, yeah, did use him to try to get his children out of that building. The stuff that they were doing inside of that building
Yeah, I know.
was
Yeah, you're right.
ridiculous.
You're
They were
right.
stealing the, out of their own mouth. They were saying they were stealing the book in the bookstore. They were going in through the top, through the skyline. They were coming in and stealing money and stealing things. You know what I'm saying? It was chaotic
Yeah.
during that time. So of course things escalated and somebody got shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
And
don't know the story about that shooting. This is my first time hearing it. Yesterday, when I heard Uma York go back and forth with Jacob York, was a waste of time. Hey, little man.
that's a little girl.
Oh, little girl. I'm sorry. At
Denial.
their age, you really can't tell the
Yeah, no,
difference.
no,
So,
no. I know. No, she's built. Her father's a basketball player, 6'8". She's built like that. She's gonna be
okay.
tall. Yeah, so a year and a half. But yes, yeah. So that's that came up during that. Jacob came up and Uma. There was Jacob said Pop is a master of hiding. He'll throw rocks and then hide his hand. Well, I
I
told him,
heard
well,
everything he said.
yeah. I'm like, well, you never
You
read
know.
the 48 powers of the laws of power, man. What do
Mhm.
you think? What do you think he's
Right.
gonna do? You're depreciating his property, something that we built. Not only him,
Right.
we built that. Okay,
Exactly.
we built propagating because a lot of these Nuwapians didn't propagate like we propagated. Like I was saying
Oh
earlier.
hell no, that's their problem. See,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
propagating the way we did instilled discipline,
Excuse me.
and that's their problem. They don't have any discipline. They don't have the same discipline that we had when we was coming up.
Yeah, they didn't have that school, and so the propagation, is, like you said, very important. And we, you know what I'm saying, pull guard. It was a structure back then. I mean, Jake did say that, and that's true. But then when he says, a lot of them became disgruntled because we went to school to Nuwapu school, which was about the occults. Like I said, it was about the occults. When you went to ancient Egypt, that's about the occults. When you look at ancient Egypt, I tell them, what do you think Hika is? The personification of magic. What do you think Aset in the story of Aset using with Osiris? Excuse me one second. I had to get rid of my granddaughter. She's gonna get mad. So yeah, what do you think we were learning? And we were learning a lot of that even in Ansar because we had the talisman book. They I gotta understand. about the occult and how he was, putting out books and educating us on the occult. So I'm sorry, I got my granddaughter here. Got people in the house and they don't want to grab this girl. Okay, don't touch
That's
the
okay.
girl. No.
It's all right.
So there was a lot of things that was said, misinformation, and I addressed this Michael Bassia, the Italian guy, and how these are disgruntled people.
Yeah.
After he left the fold of Nuwapu, and he started a page about the occults. He really got involved in the occults. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool, but it's not in the format of Nuwapu. You're going deep now into the occult.
Who
You
is
know what I'm
this
saying?
now?
Michael Bassia. They call him Hafuz. He was never an Ansar. I'm
Oh,
telling you, these people that are speaking on these platforms were never Ansar. And like you said before, they don't want us to come out and speak out.
all right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't experience what we experienced because when it came to Nuwapu, a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened when the switch of administration and in the land. A lot of things happened. You know? But
Yeah, well, it happened because of the people. You understand? The only thing that Pop is guilty of is the fact that he didn't know everything that was going on.
I'm sorry, I'm here. You were saying? Oh,
Now I gotta mute mine. I can still hear,
okay,
but I gotta
okay,
I gotta
that's fine.
step away, but I can still hear.
Okay, yeah, a lot of these and like that's another thing that they don't want to put us in the platform. They don't want us to speak because
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
they know that we're going to bring up things from a paradoxical way. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we were there. We added the missing pieces. You know what I'm saying the missing pieces, like when you get people like unbelievable. I'm sorry. Ah man, this is crazy. Um, yeah. So paradoxically, what I'm saying, we're able to bring up certain information that
Yeah, but they don't want that
they, they,
information.
they don't
You
want that.
know, see, these people, they don't want to know anything from us. I told you the other day,
Right.
they built up a wall, you understand, between the so-called old timers and, these, I call them pezzo novantes, these new people.
So,
You understand? They created a
they don't know about
schism.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
They created a wall. You understand what I'm saying? That they have to have because they know that we're the only ones other than Pop who can break down their shit.
Yeah.
You understand? When
Exactly.
when Polite first came on the scene, I seen him coming a mile away. When Sakina came on the scene, I seen her coming a mile away. And these other
Mm-hmm.
people, you understand, who put themselves out in the front, calling themselves the mouthpiece for the old man.
Mm-hmm.
I see. We had people like that in Ansar. All you had to do was sit back and observe the Sadiqs and the Walis and all these different same personality.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. I got my headphones on. I'm just dealing with
Yeah,
issues, all right?
same personalities
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
over again. Nothing,
Yeah. All
nothing,
of nothing changed.
nothing
Yeah.
changes.
And we
Everything,
seen it. Yeah.
yeah, we've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But the thing.
the old
Yeah.
man's gonna have a trick for him
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
releases the Kraken. When he comes out and he starts unraveling, and
Yeah.
he's a master at
Yeah.
unraveling shit.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And when he
True.
starts unraveling and start naming names, who is who,
Yes.
can get you a whole bunch of popcorn and just sit back
Sit back.
and you
Get ready for
know,
the ride. And I did a podcast. I spoke about the story of Musa and Khidra. Remember when he
But
was
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
follow
they made a
Jupiter?
movie out of that.
Yeah, the
They made a
circumvent.
movie out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
hmm hmm Well, so it's interesting. So we all know what's going on with a lot of this, and we that's the reason why you know this platform is for. You know what I'm saying? And that is the morals and ethics, man. When the old man looked at me and said, "Man, my people lack morals and ethics. That's what's wrong."
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
So some of the shit that I've been hearing that
and
they have done and are doing even to this day, this shit ain't stopped.
no, and it's
It
still
ain't
going on.
stopped. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
you
still
know.
going on. So a lot of so a lot of things are like being addressed online, and a lot of misinformation, and my concern is that when because social media is the internet of things is becoming very prevalent. It's growing and growing, and a lot of these children they're getting a lot of their information online. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in order to protect the integrity for morals, to be honest, loyal, to protect the integrity of what we've done, because like you share with me about Abiyaya, and I remember, you know what I'm saying, a lot of things about that elder, our esteemed elder, and the things that he said, and it's not fair. It's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That this has to go on. You know what I'm saying? It's just not fair.
Yeah, but you know what? Anytime you have a group of melanated people coming together,
hmm
you understand, this is gonna happen. You understand? You know, this is the reason why the old man always taught us many are called,
hmm
but few are
Few are
chosen.
chosen. Yes.
You understand
He
what I'm
stressed that a
saying? You're
lot.
gonna have these
True.
type of, it's part of the chemistry of, of us so-called coming together.
hmm
You understand what I'm saying? This is the reason why you have your melanated countries like most African countries and Haiti. You understand? They can't govern themselves.
Yep.
They can't govern themselves because they're leaderless. See, the thing is, we have no excuse because we have a leader.
hmm
You
hmm
understand?
And he's exposing our very nature. You know,
Right.
he's exposing how we are as a people and how we have to fix certain things. We're nation building. We got to
Yeah.
fix certain things. We got to go within ourselves and fix certain things. And definitely when you got, again, these agent provocateurs speaking for the master, speaking like they know and they got the whole picture. There's certain things that I didn't experience back from the African Sufi, so I can't speak on that. And the stuff
Right.
that your guys did when you were in the gangs back then. You know what I'm saying? And traveling around like that, through the
Right.
Bronx and that. I can't speak on that. I didn't experience any of that. But if I want to come on here and speak on some things like that, then it gets a little. Oh man, this girl is all over the place. Sorry about that.
Are we the only two in here?
No, KT is on here too, but she's got her mic muted. That's the sister from over there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have it muted because I'm running my embroidery machine. I didn't want to bring any noise in it. That's why I'm on mute.
Oh, okay. Roll back, sister.
Well, if you guys want to build a little something, I need real quickly and make sure my granddaughter that she's grabbing my crystals and stuff.
What happened to
Hmm.
Aziz? I thought he was coming on.
Latif, I don't know.
No,
Aziz.
Aziz.
Oh, Aziz, I don't know. I try to reach out to him. I think his page was hacked. I'm getting a lot of messages from him that I don't think it's really him. But
No,
anyway, just
okay.
give me 1 second.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. I just came from a long needed slumber, so my words may be slurred and what have you because I just woke up. I
Okay.
had a, I have a cat that all of a sudden he's just urinating all over the place, and I had to clean that up.
Mm-hmm.
without going off into any gory details, I had to. He got some of my clothes, so I had to take it to the cleaners. I'm right now. I'm doing laundry. Believe it or not, I'm doing laundry. I'm in between doing laundry
Mhm.
because of his mess. Other than that, I'm okay.
Yeah. I'm I'm sitting here listening to the various stories that during the answer, because I was in the answer era. But my thing was, been traveling back and forth to different communities like Philadelphia, Cleveland, Detroit. And so I was there for a minute. Then they shipped me somewhere else. Well, my man at the time, we got shipped a lot. But the longest place that we stayed was in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of that went on, whereas people were shipped to different communities. Uh,
Hmm.
I know I was. As a matter of fact, I started, without patting myself on the back, I started a lot of those communities. I started the Philadelphia community. I started, well, at the one in Cleveland, we started in Dayton, Ohio, and then it branched on to Cleveland. Yeah, but I
Okay.
started. So I know what you mean, being shipped to these. Then my ex-mate, you understand, she went to just about all of them except the ones in London.
Uh-huh.
Um, she was in Detroit, she was in Chicago, she was in Philly, she was in Baltimore.
And
Yeah,
and
that's
and,
one of the two places I didn't go, like Chicago and
and, sh-
Baltimore and Harrisburg.
and
Yeah,
share
we
with
had
us
communities all over. We had
yeah, and
communities
share with
all
us
over.
in starting a community like that, going on there. You're giving books and we're giving the tools to start these community.
Well, it was rather easy because we had a motto, and the motto
Mm-hmm.
was always 743 Bushwick Avenue.
There you
You
go.
understand?
Yes,
Philadelphia, when we first started
yes,
the mosque was built exactly like,
I heard. Yeah,
Bushwick Avenue.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I don't know about the other communities, but
Mm-hmm.
I can speak on Philly because I was there.
What was the
You know.
elder that used to make sandals? He actually taught the Mu'minun how to make sandals. I think he was an imam from Philadelphia. I think he became an imam in Philadelphia. He used to make the sandals. Matter of fact, he used to set up there in Bushwick at one time. I heard,
You
and he
talking
Not
was a
about
Sheikh
very
to
older
Duhadi.
gentleman. Who's that?
Not Sheikh Duhadi. Was it the Sheikh?
He was a sheikh. He was a sheikh. He was an older gentleman. He was sheikh tall, and he made sandals.
Not Sheikh Duhadi. Not him.
I don't know. I don't.
you talking about
Yeah,
if he was from Philly
from
originally?
Philly. Yes, originally from
Yeah, you
Philly,
talking
and
about
then
Imam Ahmed. He had a
is it
long
Imam
beard.
Ahmed? Yeah, long
Yeah, he
beard,
had a long
and he
beard.
made he made sand.
Yeah,
He taught the
Imam Ahmed.
Mu'minuns, right? He taught the Mu'minuns how to make sandals.
Yeah. Now I used to
Leather
teach him.
sandals.
I had to. That was my job was to teach him and
Wow,
his brother named Sharif
I remember
in
him.
Philly. You
Hmm.
understand? So yeah, I know them very well.
Yeah.
As a
I didn't
matter of
get to
fact,
experience. Mhm.
he's got a daughter that's still involved. Her name is, I think, is Ifat.
Mm,
She just had a birthday. I just wished her happy birthday. That's Imam
mm,
Ahmed's uh,
mm,
daughter.
mm. Yeah, I wasn't shipped. I didn't experience that moving around. I was
Yeah,
just in the fruit stand, and that was it for 5 years. Actually, yeah, 3 years out of the 5 years I was there, I was mainly at the fruit stand, and I
Mhm.
seen it being built. When I was there at first, it used to be a tent. Remember the tent of Kedar? It was just a tent.
Yeah.
And then they built the fruit stand. Abdul Musa Gafar built the fruit stand, and I was the brother there with Abdul Rauf, Green Eye Abdul Rauf, martial artist.
yeah,
And we were there. And then later on, they built it into a bookstore, and then they built the masjid. But
right.
yeah, but I didn't get to experience moving around or anything like that. I just stood
To
in the
me,
stand.
moving around was okay because I had children, and being in a smaller community, you had the chance. to be around your children more, interact with your children more, as
Facts.
opposed to being in the community. New York, you have seen less of your children. Now, we had our point of times to see our children, but being in a smaller place, we had the chance to
Right.
be
Right.
around our children more. So,
That's
you know.
interesting. Yeah.
hmm
That's very interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a blessing that I was able to spend time with my children in
Mm-hmm.
smaller places than
Yeah.
opposed to being in New York,
Yeah.
and I don't see my children for hours, at a time.
Mm-hmm. So it's more difficult running a community, a village like that. It was more difficult. I used to see the frustration in the old man's face with a lot of things that was going on. But it's more difficult to run something like that. You know what I'm saying? As opposed
hmm
to the smaller community, where you have more, like you said, that connection. You know?
Yeah, we had our troubles there, just like the one in Brooklyn, just on a smaller scale, but
Mm-hmm.
we had our troubles. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everything was not hunky dory, but
Yeah. But getting back to what's happening in the social media,
hmm
um, it's again a lot of disgruntled individuals who wasn't. I don't think they experienced what we experienced back then. That structure. A lot of them claim, "Oh yeah, I was answered," but you came in
Most of them came
'89
in at the tail end.
at the
They,
tail
you know,
end. I remember
hmm
in I remember in '83, the old man told us there's no more Ansar school. That was it.
that's when I
In
left
'83,
too.
yeah,
That's when I
that's when I
left.
left. I left it also.
Oh, you
I
left at
left.
83?
I left at '83, '84, right around there. Yeah,
I
at the
just,
end of '83.
I had just given birth to my daughter. I was out for a minute and I came back in May of 83.
Mm,
June of 83, June 26th, I gave birth to my daughter.
mm,
Mm.
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, and that was then there was, I guess, going up back and forth to Jezza Abba. They'll, take certain people and bring them up there, spend some time, bring them back. So I never had a chance to experience that. But later on, I did. When I went up to Jezza Abba with the children and spent some time up there, it was very beautiful.
Oh yeah. I
Mhm.
remember we used to get apples. He was already thinking about I think an apple vineyard, and they used to bring a truckload of apples, and we built we used plywood to build a big box and bunch of apples in there, and we told
Mhm.
all the kids in the neighborhood that was going to school, and on the brothers also, because as they were propagating, he used to say take an apple, and they gave us miso soup, a little packet, and you had to pour the miso in the water, and with the apple, that was the nutrition for the day. That's what the old man said. Perfect. As a matter of fact, that's one of the sons of the green light. Before you do your meditation, that was the prescribed diet before you did a meditation. Sons of the green light. So we had all these apples, and man, we used to tell all the kids in the neighborhood when they're on their way to school, grab some apples, man. Take it from there. So I remember that the land, a lot of land that was purchased upstate, even horses. Pop had horses upstate too. I do fight
Excuse me, I
horses.
gotta shut my cam off, but I can
Okay,
hear
brother.
y'all. I gotta
Okay.
shut my cam off for a few minutes,
Yeah. Okay.
but I can still hear and I can participate.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
All right, you got it. All right. Okay. And so this progression, this you know growth that we had, kind of like got a lot of these people upset. You know what I'm saying? That was what the so-called conscious community, because we were able to actually build, something at that time. You know what I'm saying? And then when all of that started to not crumble, but it was shift to Eatonton, Georgia, and it sort of like appeared that there was a little crumbling going on at that time. That's when you get
Uh-huh.
a lot of these people like Unc, a lot of these disgruntled individuals coming in to the Nawapian school and not getting that experience and they became very disgruntled, and they fill the social media, these platforms, with a lot of this antics and a lot of this nonsense. You say, wait a minute, I didn't experience that. And they don't want us to speak about the experience we had because they know that we came at a time when there was true growth. We came at a time that the master teacher was around us all the time, speaking with us.
Yes.
Personally, they didn't experience that. Polite didn't experience that. Anquens didn't experience that. And some of the brothers that came on later became part of the, when he was incarcerated and became part of the legal team, them brothers are no longer around. And
No.
a lot of become disgruntled against the old man. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
the timeline has to be addressed. And this is one thing that I tried to address when I went to Sonetta, try to get on, but they don't, when I call in, they don't want me to speak.
Yeah,
They
I
really
saw
don't want
you.
me
I
to
saw
speak.
you in the chat.
Mm.
I saw you in the chat,
Yeah.
and I was seeing you was trying to get his attention. He kind of
Yeah,
like
I was
ignored.
calling. Yeah, I was calling him. I didn't call his private number, but I called him. I called him through that chat number. I should have called him in another line that he gave me because I did one time a podcast on that Sonetta. He brought me on with Nepal Shada. He brought me on and he asked me a question because King Simon got on and said, "Hey, that's my brother from the Ansar days, Silos. Oh wow!" And Morpheus got on and says, "Yo, that's Silos. We know him." And then Sadetta said, "Oh, you was an Ansar? So tell me, when you found out about Dr. Yo, what he did, how do you feel?" I said, "Well, I mean, that's disappointing. It hurts me to say that, but I tell him I never experienced anything like that when I was there, and I can't speak
Mm-hmm.
on any of that. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get that type of talk from me because that's what he was looking for, to engage me in some type of talk where I was slander or say something that I didn't even experience, the old man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And try to put me in that situation. And then I just kept it about speaking about the solar plexus, knowledge that I learned from the Ansar school, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I presented it and letting them know, hey, listen, I had a great experience with this man. He sat down and taught me a lot of things personally. You know what I'm saying? He invited me into the Jamia. He said for me to come on in and move on in because he knew I was a New York University student, and he wanted to create that environment of multiversity. We used to call the university the truth. He wanted to create
Right.
that environment. You had a music department, you had a language department, you had religious studies, you had certain different studies, and we had classes. He wanted to create that type of environment, you know. And so that was a that's what I experienced. And I was there
Mm-hmm.
five years. It's like being in the university for 5 years, you know. And I tell people, well, I didn't get a Bachelor of Arts degree from Ansar Allah Community, but I tell you what I received. I just received degrees in Freemasonry, which a lot of these universities based on that. So I received,
Mm-hmm.
became a Master Mason. Those type of degrees, those studies. I became a member of the Sons of the Green Light and excelled very high up until brothers messed that one up. Some brothers messed that one up. They
You
were taking
brothers be
some of
messing up everything,
everything. They were
everything
taking
that
some of
they
the
put their
doctrine.
hands on,
Yeah, they were taking some of the and I know
and
who
pimping
was
it.
doing it. Yeah, taking it, making copies of it, and creating their own little thing out there with copies of Sons of the Green Light doctrine. And I was like, wow, really messed up a good thing.
Yes, indeed. Because I was part of the Son of the Green Light, and I was so happy. It was different.
Yeah,
It was different.
and he shut it down. Someone
But
messed up.
if you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, he said the same thing. He said, we had the greatest organization in the world, and niggas messed it up. He says that in the book. He said niggas messed it up. It's the
Yeah,
same thing with any organization, you understand, especially a populist one that was as populated as ours. You
good point.
understand? It's
Good
just gonna
point.
be a matter of time that,
That's what's
because
happening now.
yeah, well, it's been happening. It was
Yeah.
there in the Ansar. You had people, man, like Wally and Sadiq and them cats that they wanted to be, as Bob Marley says, top ranking. They
Yep.
wanted to be, you know.
Yep.
We
You
used to
know.
play basketball, and Sadiq used to literally try to hurt the old man while playing basketball.
Yeah.
That's how. That's
Crazy,
how.
man.
That's how jealous they were.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember. I remember sitting at the fruit stand, and we got a visit from the commissioner, police commissioner. And then Baba comes out and sits next to him. Now this man got a gun on his ankle, but I was behind the fruit stand and I had a
Trust
machete.
me, the old man did too. That quiet
Yeah,
little
I
cat,
didn't know. All I know,
he
I
did
had a
too.
machete, and I was like, this man
He,
pulled out that gun. I'm
he,
about to cut this man's hands off if he dare hurt my teacher like that. So we're sitting there, and you know what this man told us? He says, he says, Imam, you know, with more respect, I love what you're doing here, but you got a couple of brothers out here doing stick ups out there. They're doing stick ups, and then they putting on their garb and they're camouflaging themselves with your organization. That's not good for y'all. Baba brought that up in a family meeting because one thing we had is that we used to get underneath the tent, and anything that we had to air out was air out under the tent. The sisters used to rag us all the time. Matter of fact, Aziz, I wish he was here to tell you the story of him roller skating, and the sisters wanted to kick him out because he was roller skating. He got caught roller skating outside in the world. And the dunya, we used to call it the dunya. And so, you know, this is what the commissioner said. And I was like, what? And I ran into a couple of brothers, yes, that told me that they were doing stick ups. And I was like, well, you know, you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. You do what you do. You know, because I've done things in the past, but never put children in jeopardy or community in jeopardy like that. You don't do that. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That was how maybe the old timers might have done their things because I heard stories back in the days, but that's what they needed to do for their time to survive, man. We're
oh
building a
yeah,
nation.
oh
That
yeah.
joke, Jake brought that up too. We're building a nation. There was stuff that had to be done back then. But then we got to a point that we didn't have to do that no more. We had to go up there. The Prophet Muhammad used to be a stick-up artist. He used to stick up all the caravans. That's how he
That's
met his
right.
wife Khadijah. Remember when
Yep.
she had a big caravan and they were sticking up that caravan. They were running around the Arabs, running around sticking up people, caravans coming into Mecca. You know what I'm saying? So,
They don't want to
but
talk about that
they
though.
don't
They
want to
want
talk
to talk
about
about.
that.
They want to talk about him being a pedophile and all that kind of shit.
Right. They don't want to talk about he was the real. We had to do things. Brothers had to do things back then, but we got to a point that we didn't need to do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? But then for other brothers to come and try to live that life, I don't think that was proper. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Baba addressed that. You know, took us under the tent and told us, you know, if I catch anybody, if I find out who it is. He pointed out a couple brothers to me. He
He knew
said,
who it was.
he
He knew
knew.
who it was.
Yeah. But that's nation building. You know what I'm saying? And a lot, like I said, a lot of these other organizations had a lot of these organizations feared us, feared the brothers, African Sufis, fear that the brothers back then, and even to the Ansar, they feared us. The minute we came on the scene, man, I used to walk around 42nd, Majalabi and Emma, around 42nd, and I had the Israelites yelling at me, trying to yell at me. But then when I used to pull one to the side and speak to him, he would be like, "Oh, brother, okay, you good? Yeah, brother, you messing with the wrong one. I know my doctrine." And not only that, I'd seek outside, what do you call out the box. You got to go out formation, outside. That's another thing. A lot of these brothers, they read the doctrine and they get caught up so much in the books, they don't experience things. No practicality, no experience. You can't, your books are like reference. When I read anything today, I don't read much of the Patarak or anything like that. But when I do read some book like that, it's for me as a reference. You got to go beyond that. And then you got to put experiences, wisdom with that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of, but like you said, They came later on, and they got a lot of mixed messages. But once Pop get out, I mean, the old man get out, I guess a lot of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And like the movie Circle of Iron with Bruce Lee, remember when he found the Book of Life and he opened it up and it was a mirror?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that? And
At
then
the
they tell
end,
him
yeah.
for him to sit on the throne. What did he do? I don't want to sit on that throne, brother.
Yeah.
And then when he went met with the master again, paid by David Carradine, he said, "Yeah, I did the same thing, man. I don't want that. You can fit those shoes. Not the old man, like we always say, take me out from the cross, man. Get me out of this rock. You know, take me out of the cross." I tell a lot of people, I'm not a follower. I just recognize greatness. I recognize talent, charisma, and I recognize, greatness. That's it. You know, I honor that. That's being moral, having morals and ethics. Honor that. So I don't know why a lot of disgruntled brothers, I guess they wanted to fit that shoe so much, they failed. And addressing Chuck Morgan, he came later on, was never an Ansar, came to the Washington, D.C. He had the glasses, the what they call them, the bees, the thing to hold the glasses with the Emma. He looked just like the old man, just like him. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? Why don't you be yourself? Like Abiyaya, you always teach me, be yourself, brother. You can't fit those shoes. That's his shoes. That's who he is. That's who he is. But you be yourself and you figure out that you're great. Like he said, you're greater than me. There's a lot of great things that you can achieve when you be yourself. But you try to be like me, it could be you're getting the wrong messages. That's what the whole Circle of Iron was about. You know what I'm saying? Try to be like the master and challenge him. And then finally at the end to find out that even the master wasn't about that. You know what I'm saying? He was himself. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But yeah, I'm not gonna be on here too long. I don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah, I gotta step off, man. As I was telling the sister, I'm in the midst of
Mm-hmm.
doing
Okay, some laundry.
some chores.
I
My
gotta do
cat
some
had an
chores myself.
accident, and I'm cleaning
Oh,
up after.
oh,
You
okay.
know, it just started urinating all over the place.
Oh
So I
man,
had to. I'm right now. I'm in the midst of washing some clothes, and
she
then I
not
gotta go.
spaded. What they call spaded? Is she not what they call fixed?
I don't know. It was a rescue cat. My cousin gave me
Oh
the
yeah,
cat.
no, no.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
It's
yeah. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, much
So
blessings to you. Thank you
all
for
right.
coming on. Much blessing
All
to
right. Let me
you.
know. Let me know when the next time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just wanted to address, because like I said, the internet is being bombarded by these so-called experts on Dr. York and expert. They think they know all the angles, but I'm telling them I
Yeah,
don't even know the man's angle.
let them know.
Hmm.
You understand? Me personally, I just sit back and watch. I don't say nothing no more.
Right,
You understand? I just let
right.
them burn themselves out because eventually that's what's going to happen. They're going to burn themselves out when they realize that they can't do an iota of what the old man has done. When they get
Dot,
to that
dot.
realization, then they burn themselves out.
There you go.
You know,
There you
and they
go.
wind up
There you
just
go.
like Polite. Polite
There
is,
you
is
go.
a classic example.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm
Great
gonna give my
example.
wadu's.
Okay. Peace and blessing to you.
What
Peace
Why
and
do?
do? Why do? Why
wadu.
do? Okay, my sister. Is there anything you want to say to address anybody? You know,
Well, you said it all. I mean,
yeah.
you
I didn't.
know,
I didn't mention. I'm sorry. I didn't mention about the conference call. I did mention to a brother online that I found it kind of boring. You know what I'm saying? They need to
hmm
come with a better, more energy than what they were doing. It just seemed to
hmm
me they was just. I don't know. It was just so scripted and so not. I don't know. There was. Like I said, we're from the old school and the hoopas and it was charged, man. And we were around a man that it was charged. This was I kind of was disappointed at what was going on.
hmm
But a lot of that has to do also with the audio being leaked now, the audio being leaked, and a lot of that attention is being focused on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And then these conscious communities, these platforms are jumping on that
Oh yeah.
because they're sensing that this man might be out soon. He's working on it hard. There's some things being in the work. So they're afraid of that because it's gonna be
And,
all be shut down. Shut
yeah,
down.
and some of the people that being mentioned, their names be popping up.
Mm-hmm.
They are, I don't want to mention their names.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they've been
But
doing dirt for the longest. You know.
it's gonna catch up to them.
Mhm.
It's gonna catch up. Well, listen, I'm gonna end it here. Anything else you want to say before we end
Oh,
it?
no, I enjoyed the the conversation. You know, it
I,
just, we gotta, we remember all the good things that we went, even the bad things, but the outcome was it that we learned from it, we experienced it,
facts.
you know.
Facts. Facts. I still have to do an interview with you because I know you're a dancer and a percussionist.
Yes, yes.
We still gotta, put it in that mode. I'm ready to do some
Oh,
interviews with some groundbreaking drummers from the Congolese because it's bringing
mm-hmm.
that culture. You know what I'm saying? Very interesting, and I definitely need to do an interview with you and your
Okay,
experiences. Okay, so
okay.
I'll send you a message, and you tell me when it's a good time. Maybe you can even bring out your drums. We can jam online.
Oh, I don't even have drums. That's
No. No. So it's a pleasure. Okay. Thank you
all
very
right
much.
then.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Let's
what
okay.
do?
Why do? Why do? Thank you. Why do? Well, because of the elders were there, I didn't want to really, you know, fire these shots at these people. You know what I'm saying? And take it one on one. So maybe at another time we'll do that. But it was nice. Now these are elders. These are people that were there. This is not no Michael Bossia. This is not no Chuck Morgan. This is not no Paul Light. This is not no Unc West. These are not of these people. They came later on. We're talking about people that predate that experience a very powerful moment in our nation building. We got every right to build nations because this corporation called United States of America is comprised of many different nations. Comprised of many different nations. So that thing about how that Sheriff Seal said about there's only one nation, that's the United States of America. Didn't he? That's stupidity. United States of America is not a nation. It's a corporation that runs the federal government, charters out, okay, municipality and stuff. But then you got nations. Cherokee Nation, the indigenous nations, Native American nations. You got different nations. Nation of Islam has also supposed to become a nation. I don't know if they still operate as a nation, but they should be. The 5% of nation, there's no nation. I mean, they try so hard, but the piece that they're missing, and the Kemetic nation, or the people of the Kemetic, and also the Black Israelite, ISUPK, and all them brothers. You know what I'm saying? I look at them as warriors, and that's cool. But we come from that school too. We're warriors also. We come from that school. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of run-ins with Israelites, right? And I tell them, bro, you guys are really that dumb that we could have actually taught you guys about language because our nation is very invested in language. And we could have taught you guys a lot about language. But they always bring up that whole pedophilia thing, not knowing that in their organization that existed, in their neighborhood that existed, in their Old Testament that existed, in the New Testament, it exists as a nature that has been prying on our people for such a long time. And we need to fix that from within, yes. And this man come to expose a lot of things. Expose it, you know? And I'm not by no way saying that pedophilia is acceptable. I'm saying that it is something that we have to address within all neighborhoods, all nations. Have to address that. I've seen things happen from a very early age. I've seen things happen in neighborhoods. This is a nature. This happens. But anyway, let me leave it there. Um, and it seems like nobody has any questions. I didn't go on my let's see, where is it? Where is my phone? I didn't go on there to see who was on Facebook because I right now I only can see the let me see something. I can only see the questions of people on the YouTube. I don't know what I did, hell I did with my phone. But anyway, peace and blessings to everyone. And again, always when these people speak, you got to look at the timeline, what they're speaking about, and you got to look at the school of thought, and always seek the counsel of your elders if you're in that particular organization, right? Always seek the counsel of your elders. We're here. We know a lot of things. And there was a break-off point where a lot of brothers got disgruntled and were disconnected from the elders. The old man, Partner Bayanu wanted to school what they call spiritual masters. They become spiritual masters to the Nuwapians because that's what they were missing. They were missing that. You know what I'm saying? It became bombarded by a lot of these, again, New Jacks. It came later on. They didn't come from before. I have to honor the ones before me. So I sat down with Abiyaya. I sat down with Samuel. You've seen him. I spoke with Samuel and he schooled me on certain things. I sat down with Abiyaya, Abu Bakr. I'm master teacher first student. He was my godfather. He schooled me on a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to sit down with your elders in any organization you at, to your elders and the ones that goes before, that have a timeline that goes back before. Try to get their story so you can put it together, so you can get the whole truth of the whole thing. Okay? And again, if you're gonna come on these platforms, and this is to the Jacob York, Yakub, and this is to Umar, and this is to anybody that come on these Sonetta platforms, anything like that. Okay, you're speaking from your perspective of what you experience. And yes, you are master teacher biological children, but it doesn't mean that you have his very character and personality. You don't. You don't. If anybody that has a lot, I didn't even want to go there, but you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of things. And then those of us that don't have any actual blood tie have a spiritual connection because our character personality was growth by environment. We experience hands-on things with the man. Hands-on. It shaped our character and personality, which is our spirit, our spiritual self. It shaped that. That's why he called a lot of people his sons and daughters who weren't blood related. But he called them sons and daughters because they share those character and personalities. So you got to go back to your elders. A lot of times, the elders also got their perspective and it might not be totally correct, But, at the morals and ethics, be tolerant of their differences. And it's not your place to correct them. It's just place to you listen, okay? Give them that honor, that loyalty. Give them that honor and listen to them. And then make your move. Otherwise, you either take that advice, you either take that in, or if not, keep moving. Keep moving. But don't forget that they exist. Don't forget that we exist in today's time. And we can tell you, we help build that Ansar Allah, and we help build this nation that morphed into a Nuwapian nation. We helped build the core of it. I mean, there was another core before me, but when we got to a point, the growth, when we got to a point, became worldwide, and we got to a point where we were in contact with the Sudanese Ansar Allah community, with Saeed Sadiq. That connection with an African country at that time, one of the first organizations to be actually connected with a African country like Sudan, right? That wasn't complicit to a lot of other things. The Mahdi family was different. That's the reason why they were ousted. You know what I'm saying? But we had that connection with the Sudanese, and that connection goes all the way back to Sheikh Dawood. That connection goes. Well, he was Moroccan, but he had students from Sudan that coming over. That connection goes all the way back. Okay, and then we had that connection. We were at that time, Ansar Allah was a representative here in the West, and we had the connection with the East, Ansar Allah. They read our books, and they sent teachers from there to here to teach our children, the young mu'minoons. Okay, so we had that growth. At that time, we created that multiversity, created that music department, created that language department. I was in the language department. I was learning Arabic, Quranic teachings, okay, and learning other sciences. And then at Sons of the Green Light, we was learning about other science, mystical sciences. You know, that was a growth moment. What happened after that? Now, Eatonton, Georgia was beautiful. Eatonton, Georgia was beautiful, and the experience that you went through there was beautiful. But a lot of them brothers were there building Eatonton, Georgia. A lot of those old Ansar were building in Eatonton, Georgia. So the core was there. But again, once they extracted this man, a lot of other people came to the table and saw opportunity to manipulate their way in. They saw perfect opportunity to manipulate their way in. That's what's going on. And that's who you see on a lot of these platforms speaking disgruntledly, submersive on a lot of these platforms. Mark Lemon Hill was not a student like that with Malachi C. York in the land. He was not a student like that. He was never an Ansar. He never wore Jalabi and Emma and had those books and propagated with us from 1970 to 1979 to the 80 to 82. He did not experience that. Okay? You can tell by his age, and he said when he was born, and he said, and everything that happened. It came out of his own mouth. So he don't know. Chuck Morgan, you were never there either. You wasn't there in 79. Now, King Simon came a little later, but King Simon experienced a lot of things. Morpheus experienced a lot of things also. They could speak on it, on a lot of things. And King Simon could speak on a lot of things also. You know? But at that time, though, in 1985, 86, 87, there was a big change. A change. There was that middle passage. That middle passage happened. You have to look at the timeline, just like anything else. When you look at the Bible, you got to look at the timeline. You have to look at the location. You got to look how people involve themselves and how they live in that environment. You know, that natural condition, how they live and what transpired from it. You know what I'm saying? We didn't fail the children. The children failed themselves. The Mu'minun failed themselves. We gave them everything they needed to grow. And Jake spoke about that. Yaqub spoke about that. They had the best of a lot of things. But hey, you didn't want to continue on. You wanted to get into the hip hop. You want to get into the sex things. You want to get into the world, what we would call the dunya at that time. And but you had the tools to deal with the dunya. But you fell off. You fell off. You know what I'm saying? And that does not give you a reason for you to be disgruntled. It doesn't give you any reason. You know? And for you to come on social media and talk about, oh, I seen Pop do this, I seen Pop do that with young kids and this and this and that. Yo, what is that going to do? What is that going to do? That can't change the fact, I'm going to drop it here, that there was an injustice done to that situation, that court. They held court on Martin Luther King's birthday, and the most important thing is, I got the documents here. That judge should never been presided over that case, that court, because he had prior dealings with the Richardsons. Okay. And and to my brother Prince Amun, Prince Yor Ramesses, you know what I'm saying? He tried. Hey, he connected with his father's character personality, and he tried to. Hey, come on, man. Talking about he's a weirdo and this and this and that. He went. We all go through our things in life. Okay. We all go through things in life. I'm not here to tell you that everything is perfect. Everything in the Ansar Allah community wasn't all that perfect. We had our issues, but we knew how to deal with these issues when we got under the tent with the sisters. We knew how to personally deal with those issues. And you knew certain brothers you stood away from. You stood away from certain, there was cliques. You stood away from certain brothers. They got down a certain way, you wanted to stay away. It's like that in the hood. It's like that wherever you go. You have to stay away from certain people, certain groups, you know? And so, y'all messed up. So I don't blame that this man, Dr. Yor, Malakazi Yor, Panaba Yanun, wanted you out of the damn building. You would depreciate him. Why don't you tell that of the stuff that you was doing inside of there? The robbery, the stealing, the orgies, the parties. Why don't you talk about that? And then you're going to clubs, like what the club they mentioned there, the stutter. I don't know what the club. What are you doing in clubs like that? I've been to clubs, but I was out of the community. I was living my life, okay? And yeah, you was living out of the community and everything. But let me tell you something. Even when I went to a club, and even when I was involved in music and certain situations, like I said, I'm in it, but not of it. A lot of yours became engulfed with it. Engulfed. And then, sorry, yeah, I mean, a lot of these Nuwapians that came later on had other agendas, opportunities and agendas, because, hey, the master teacher was no longer around. He was in jail. You know what I'm saying? In jail. And then some of the brothers abandoned him. You know what I'm saying? They were like, hey, man, this is all over. I want to get something out of this. You know? Like the sister Sakina. I'm going to get something out of this. You know? Because this is all I got. It's all I have. You know what I'm saying? why don't you take your talent and make something out apart from that? Can you do that? In order for you to become a millionaire, you got to have different streams of incomes, right? You got different venues. Why don't you do another venue? Go do something else. You engulf yourself. You do theory, fraud to get what you want. That's a little, you're going to get caught out there. You're going to get caught out there. And we see it. We see it all. People ain't dumb these days. Now with social media and now with the Internet of Things, the fourth industrial revolution, everything is being exposed. Right now, everything being exposed, man. You know? Everything being exposed. And I'm telling you, intuition, clairvoyance tells me that there is a thread of possibility that this man might be walking out of that situation from underneath that rock. And when he comes out, people ain't gonna like it. They're not gonna like it because this is something he built. Unless he just says, hey, you know what? You can have it. I'm building something better here. I'm building something better on a global stage. A global stage, I'm building something better here in Liberia or wherever I want to go. I'm building something greater here. So you can have that. You can have it. You know? That's for those that are so involved in that. You can have it. But there's something greater we can build. We've done it before. You know? Man, there's a lot of things that we can say. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here. And peace and blessing to everyone. And, you know, continue having a wonderful experiences, man. It's important. But let me tell you something, though. We're listening. we're listening, and we're shaking our head like, being patient, saying that ain't right. I'm only speaking it about it now because I just wanted to address that. But other than that, and like the elder said, yeah, I do sit back and listen a lot. I do comment on online, whatever, here and there and there and there. Ain't got nothing to do. I'm sitting down. I'm all the time. I'm doing my music. I'm writing. And I rather vibe with musicians and people. Right now, Esperanza Spalding with her new music she's putting out, it's very groundbreaking, very spiritual. I vibe. That's the way I vibe. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking into many different artists and how they're vibing, and that whole, when you deal with Wu Sabat, and then you deal with the constellation of Sirius, you deal with stars, you deal with energy, star energy, you deal with the sun energy, you deal with a culture that is predicated on that. You know what I'm saying? And then you start, it's different. It's totally, totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you can have all that Nwapi stuff. I don't, Nwapo from Napata, Wu Nwap, it's important. There's important lessons in that. That's the occult. That's our philosophy. There's a very important lessons in that. Now Wu Sabat, it's another school of thought. It's the completion. Sabian in Aramaic, Sabian or Sabiic is the completion. All right? Of all those schools. It's the completion of all those schools. Now, you can have all that. All your disgruntled members and stuff, you're going to burn yourself out. You can have all that. Chuck Morgan, I don't want to debate you. I already spoke with you, and I already see that you're stuck on this disgruntled. You're stuck in this world, and I don't want to be part of that world. Like I said, I'm not a follower of Dr. York. I'm not a follower, but I recognize the great. He was one of my teachers. I sat down with him for 5 years and learned a lot with him in that time period. And I honor that. I'm loyal to that. Okay? So I recognize his talent. I recognize his charisma. I recognize his greatness. That is a difference than being just a follower. Okay? There's a difference. Right? So, peace and blessing to you all. I'm out.